Welcome to Advanced 360 Creating a Test Part 2. This is the fifth and final part in the training series Get Ready to Assess. Advanced 360 is the exclusive learning management system used by Carson-Newman University for delivery of its online programs. All instructors, including traditional classroom faculty, are required to upload their syllabi to their courses on Advanced 360. Tests are only a small part of course assessment. In this video, we'll see how to prepare the test through the test settings, add the questions previously created and uploaded to the question repository, and finally, ordering the questions and give each one a point value. Select the test icon from the left navigation panel of your course homepage, and then select the Add New link. Title the test. Many instructors use Week 1, Week 2, etc. as their title scheme. Best practices prove that naming the test something more meaningful, such as Introduction to Elizabethan Literature and then In-Depth Knowledge of Elizabethan Literature, is more efficient in the long run. Use the instruction area to give directions about the test, just as you would if you were giving the examination in class. The pre-test confirmation should include information concerning the content of the exam, when it should be taken, and any information that may help the student expectations for the exam itself or for their experience following the exam. The post-test confirmation is displayed when the student selects the Finish Test button. This is the message telling them that they have finished, but that they need to confirm. You may wish just to enter the name of the test here. The test completion field's purpose is to offer the student a message confirming the finalization and submittal of the test. The next section of the settings has to do with restricting access. The first choice is all about browser lock. By selecting this option, the student is forced to download the browser lock application onto their computer. This is located under the Suggested Requirements section under the Help tab. Although in theory browser lock seems like it's a preventative feature against academic dishonesty, it does pose some problems for what little security against cheating it gives. The premise behind browser lock is that the computer in which the student takes the exam locks down and will not allow any pop-ups or other programs to open. That may have been a real deterrent before cell phones and tablets, but nowadays the student usually has access to a second browser on another device. You will need to outweigh the technical difficulties the students have in installing the program properly and the browser lock's effectiveness. A second option allows you to set it so that the student will need a specific password to open the exam. This is great if you're administering an exam in a traditional classroom computer lab. It's also the best option to use when asking someone to remotely proctor the exam. You may wish to restrict the start and end dates of the test. By restricting the dates, the student can see the test title and the date it is expected to begin. The student will not have the option to begin the exam until that test start date and time is reached. If you choose to set a time limit, you may also want to restrict the re-entry to the test. In other words, if you set the test for 50 minutes and then restrict re-entry, the student cannot begin the test, then say leave the test after 5 minutes, and then re-enter to finish the test. And after you've saved all of the test settings, the Set Individual Assessment Times link appears. This is used for the instructor to be able to allow for that student in the course who may, according to special needs, require more time to complete the exam. The time is adjusted just for that student without the rest of the class knowing. This makes the action HIPAA compliant. In the Options section, you have 3 ways to display the questions. Normal means that they will display to the student in the order that you select. Random will randomize all the questions you've selected for the exam. And last, you have the option for the computer to randomly select a number of questions out of a larger question bank. The Answer Questions in Line option poses the least technical difficulties for the student. You can have as few or many questions displaying at one time as the student scrolls through the test screen. There are a couple of things that you need to know about the Auto Retake section. Both of the fields must be filled in if you're allowing a retake of the exam. In the first example, the student can retake the test 99 times or until they reach 100%. This is great for self-study. In the second example, the settings allow the student to retake the exam a second time if the first is not 100%. This allows them a chance to better their grade. You will, however, want to caution the student because it will place the second grade in the gradebook, not the higher of the two grades. You can see both grades and manually enter the higher of the two if you'd like, but this leads to time-consuming and possibly error-creating work for you. The review settings are optional, and the default setting is set to the student not being able to review the test or see the correct answers. That setting works if you're going to review the exam in a traditional class setting. For online students, however, they are unable to have the benefit of in-class explanation and discussion of the questions. It's frustrating for them to not know where they've missed the mark. A better setting is to allow the student to review the test after completion or review once all the students have taken the exam. You will recall that when creating test questions, you can supply feedback for right and wrong answers. Giving students immediate feedback as they answer questions is especially effective in helping them learn and have knowledge retention. All tests will automatically list alphabetically by their title. If you want tests presented to the student in a certain order, you will need to give them a sort number in the sorting section. When you've completed the settings, select the Submit button. And after processing, the computer screen will scroll back to the top of the test settings. Now you will select the Questions tab to add questions to the test. Choose the appropriate repository question folder from the Select Folder drop-down box. All the questions located in that repository folder will be displayed. You may now select questions individually, by question type, or all the questions in the folder. After marking which questions will be used, select the Add Selected Questions to the Test button. The computer will then display questions added as a confirmation. You have the option to mark and remove questions, select another folder and add more questions, or go right to the Question Ordering tab. If you selected the normal display option when creating the test settings, you may wish to manually reorder the questions into a logical sequence. The last item you must complete is giving each of the questions a point value and saving. This is the step that ties the test into the gradebook. You can set the point values individually. You can also set all of the questions to a different point value all at the same time. When you select Save, the test maps itself to an automatic gradebook item entry. Once the test creation is complete and is in the test list, you can print a copy of the exam for your own records. I also always review the gradebook map link to confirm that the test is mapped to the correct gradebook item. Now it's your turn. Log on to Advanced 360 and explore. The next recording in this series is Organizing Activities. In that recording, you'll learn how to look at different activities which will be used to teach the content with a focus on student learning outcomes.